guys, welcome back to Iron Game Chalk Talk. I'm your host, Ron McKeefery, and very excited to get back at it. As most of you know, I took a job working with the Cincinnati Bengals, and I've actually been without internet for 2 weeks, which, in this internet world is a lifetime. So excited to get back. Sorry for the delay in shows. I will make them up, I promise you. But wanted to get back, have Will Hitzelberger on the show today. He's the owner of Spectrum Sports Performance in Orlando, and really unique story. I've known Will for several years. We actually worked together on a joint venture where I would have some coaches come down. We'd kind of identify a candidate. They would go work for him or other sports performance facilities, and they would get cheap labor, and I'd get free help. And it was a good situation for them. But Will is running this facility, but he's reached out and brought on some colleges and some professional teams, and to where he is essentially created full-time positions with these organizations as their head strength coach. And so in a world as volatile as ours, it's important to see opportunities like this, and there are great opportunities out there for us coaches to be able to still create positions. And sometimes, so many times, we want it the easy way. We want to be able just to go roll into a great spot. And when I took the South Florida job, it wasn't a great job. It was a little small, 2,000 square foot weight room, and small staff and the whole deal. So I think he's got some great stuff for us. I know you're going to enjoy that. Real quick before we get going, I want to make sure we recognize Play Sports Flooring for being the sole sponsor of Iron Game Chalk Talk. CSCA conference is right around the corner here, and Play will definitely be there as usual with their Atlas Stone and being able to drop it on the floor and the whole deal. So make sure you go by their booth, check them out, and see some of the facilities that they're getting done right now. Doing some phenomenal projects. Penn State there, Texas, on and on and on. So make sure you swing by there, tell them I said hello, and enjoy the conference. So sit back, and here is Will. All right, guys, I'm here with Will Hitzelberger. He is the owner of Spectrum Sports Performance down in Orlando, outside of Orlando, and I've known Will for quite some time. We actually worked together on a project that is, kind of along the lines of the topic that we're going to be talking about today, being kind of outside the box, kind of thinking entrepreneurially as a strength coach. But we met when I worked at South Florida, and we had sent an intern. We would bring coaches down, and we would outsource them to local performance facilities, and in return, they would, we'd kind of identify candidates, put them in front of these sports performance facilities, and they would get free help or cheap help. We would get free labor, and it was kind of a win-win. And so Will was part of that kind of pilot deal, and we've kind of worked through that. And that's an idea for some of you guys out there that are looking for help. Maybe you're in a small college and you're one guy, two guys at your facility with 17 teams. You need help, and so that was a thing that we did, but. He's a great guy. He has some really good stuff for us today. Appreciate you being on the show, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, Will, for everybody that doesn't know you, go in a little bit about, how you got into strength and conditioning, and talk a little bit about Spectrum Sports Performance.
Sure. Played soccer at the University of Tampa. I was a sports management major to start with, and I was just anxious to become a better soccer player. I thought I was going to be a professional soccer player until the day I graduated, and I couldn't really imagine doing any other job during the summer. And so I started working for my strength coach at the time, Jody Johnson, and I really fell in love with the field, and I was anxious to get better, and I wanted to do everything I could, and I switched to be an exercise science major, and kind of took off from there. I just Jody wasn't our strength coach, and a guy named Rafael Ruiz came in, and I learned a lot from him, and really just was motivated to get in the field and get better. And from there, I kind of did the pro baseball thing. I went with the New York Mets under Jason Craig Nitro, and had a great experience with those guys. And then after spending time in Tampa, I was just kind of ready to start my own thing, and I wanted to I had a big vision. I wanted in the field of sports performance, and so I moved to Orlando, and I kind of winged the idea of starting up what's now SSP, Spectrum Sports Performance, and here we are 8 years later.
So why, so going into the New York Mets situation, having kind of, maybe changed your path from going, sports management or whatever, to going, having Jody and Raph and those guys kind of motivate you to go into strength and conditioning. Why not go the traditional team setting, college, pro? Why go the sports performance route?
Yeah, I thought I'd landed this awesome opportunity with the New York Mets, which it was a great opportunity. And at the end of the day, I just felt handcuffed. I felt like I'd learned quite a bit in the 4 years of school and the 2 years of outside experience I had. And yet I was being given this piece of paper that had a dumbbell press and a lat pull down and a dumbbell row, and I was supposed to implement that with 30 guys who kind of wanted to do it, but not really. And I was so interested in the private sector. I loved the idea of athletes coming to me to want to train, whether that was a high school kid or a professional athlete. The fact that they were seeking us out was very appealing to me. I had the idea of this unbelievable sports performance facility. And, because I didn't go to a big Division I college, I didn't know that environment. I didn't know what it was like to be at a USF or a Florida State or a Texas. And so it's really kind of all I knew. I just had this vision of a private facility that I wanted to build and grow. And that's when I just decided to try to figure it out. And I moved to Orlando. I knew one person here, and I kind of just I started it up. My first project was there's a school here, Trinity Prep. They were looking for somebody to monitor their weight room. They were going to pay $8 an hour. I knew if I could just get in there, I could turn a weight room monitor into being a strength conditioning coach. And then I also had negotiated that if I could come in and run their 3 to 5 o'clock weight room monitoring, that I could rent the weight room before and after school hours. So that was kind of my first introduction to like paying rent for a business and starting off. So I created a little bit of a buzz with the high school athletes. And then I was able to bring clients in before school at 5, 6 a.m. and then after school hours starting about 6 p.m. And that went on for 2 years. It took me 2 years to max out those hours. And we were running sessions late into the evening, 9 o'clock at night or so.
Right.
And so for 2 years we launched at the high school, and then we felt that we had created a big enough clientele that we opened up our first facility.
Well, that's an important lesson. I mean, with my interns, for 15 plus years, I've always, I've had, a group of interns every semester, fall, spring, and summer. And the fact of the reality is not all of them are going to be strength coaches at a professional organization. There's just not that many jobs,
right?
But we often talk about kind of creating your own experience, and one of the reasons why I want to have you on the show, and actually you reached out to me and told me that, hey, this is something that is rocking right now, and you know what? It's I get to be involved with these teams, and we talked a little bit about off camera about how excited you are about chasing some of these national championships and some things along those lines. But you've set up a relationship with Rollins College down there in Orlando, and basically where you've gone in and you got one team, picked up another team, and essentially now you're the head strength coach for at least the majority of the teams at Rollins College. Can you talk a little bit about how you got in there and what it's grown to?
Sure. It's been a fun project. It's been a long project. When I first approached Rollins, I approached the men's and women's soccer coach basically because of my background, and they accepted, and they weren't sure how it was going to work out. And there was no weight room at the time. There's a fitness center here where the students can work out, the faculty can work out, and the athletes are supposed to work out. And that just wasn't going to happen for me. And so I found this space upstairs on a balcony that overlooks the basketball court, and it actually has about a 1/4-inch rubber flooring, which is pretty perfect setting for a weight room. Mm-hmm. So for the first 2 years, I just brought these couple teams. I picked up softball very quickly, and a couple others hopped on board. So I was an independent contractor to these few teams, and we just do hard work up in this area, and a lot of body weight, a lot of carrying each other, a lot of picking each other up, and just just trying to change the culture here. We're going to do hard work, and we're going to get better, and we're going to win games. And then I started having the athletes go downstairs, bring all the equipment from the fitness center up into my new weight room, and we would do workouts with 6 bars and 4 45s and 8 25s and 10 10s, and we just kept getting work done. And after a couple of years, I had quite a few teams on board, maybe about 6 teams on board, and I went to the athletic department and asked for, I think, about $6,000. So this balcony is there's bleachers up there that have to move down for games, and so I had to create a portable weight room. And so with my $6,000, I bought $150 racks that I can literally pick up myself and move. I had to get wheelable weight racks so the plates and bumpers could sit on racks that I could wheel out of the way. And then with all that taken into consideration, I couldn't leave the bars out because this room is totally open to the public. So I had to store bars in a closet. So after 2 years, I got $6,000, and I basically put together 5 racks and some portable bumpers and plates and bars. And then, over the last several more years, we've just added to it. We've got the power blocks in there. We've got kettlebells, bands. Everything you need just makes program design a little different than you would in your perfect collegiate setting.
Right. Well, and I've seen pictures, and you're gonna send me some pictures that we can throw on this. But it's very functional at the end of the day. A lot of open space, a lot of things that strength coaches actually beg for. A lot of open space and room and racks and bars and bumpers. And then at the end of the day, that's all you really need. But talk a little bit, and you don't have to get specific into the numbers and things along those lines, but talk a little bit about approaching that AD for the first time, or, because this is something that, there's still several NAIA, Division III, Division II schools out there that don't have strength coaches, and yet it's in a field that there's just not a lot of jobs. There's still a tremendous amount of potential growth.
Sure.
Talk a little bit about how you changed the culture even within the administration to say, hey, look, this is a value to you and your athletes.
Yeah. The first thing was I tried to go to the AD, and I realized the AD in some of these smaller schools leaves it up to their coaches. Mm-hmm. And so I guess my advice would be, make a connection with a coach and see if they will buy into your idea. Because once you get one coach on board and you help their program, other coaches will hop on board in these programs. And when I first negotiated, I was negotiating month by month or semester by semester. And
right.
Now we're at a point where it's a year contract. But at first, with the 2 soccer teams, I just said, hey, pay me X dollars per month for the first semester, and we'll see if we want to do this next semester. Mm-hmm. And those things have taken off, but it was going into to each coach, and I still to this day, if I have something and I go to the AD, she'll let me know that I need to go talk to the coaches. They're the ones who pay me, and it doesn't come from the athletic department. And that's probably a big thing to know, because these coaches for several years had to fundraise to support strength and conditioning. Mm-hmm. So when I increased my prices, they had to do more fundraising, and so it's not a constant battle, but if I want more money or I think my prices need to increase, it's a matter of me going and trying to talk to the athletic department, but then usually going to each coach and saying, hey, we're going to increase prices a little bit. I'm adding an assistant. We're bringing in nutrition, or whatever the case may be.
Right. Well, what's great about this situation is it's also that you're hiring and firing them. You don't necessarily need, you have a successful business.
Sure.
You work with actually several other teams, a couple teams and some professional organizations even. You don't necessarily need Rollins College. It's a great, obviously some money in the kitty here, but anytime you're in a strength and conditioning world, and we talked about this a little bit off camera, sometimes you're at the beck and call of administrators, coaches, whatever. The great thing about your situation is you go in, and at the end of the day, if a coach wants to come in and barrel his chest and huff and puff, you could walk out the door and say, see you later, if you really wanted to.
Exactly.
Obviously, you've created a culture where that doesn't really take place, but it's a great message to be able to go create your own destiny. And we've talked about this on the show. There's a book called "Make the Big Time Where You're At," and that's exactly what you're doing. You're making the big time. Your little Rollins College, nobody's heard of. You're making the big time where you're at. What about, some of the, you've got a professional soccer team that you work with,
Sure.
and so what's cool about, again, I think about your situation is that, you have the college athletes and you get your fix of team building and having an impact on their lives and things like that. You also got a professional organization where, hey, these people are paid to play,
Oh yeah.
And it's a little bit of a different coaching culture, a little bit of a different mindset. Talk about how you went about getting a professional organization as well.
Yeah, so we've been in the club soccer scene here in Orlando for several years, and Orlando City came into town, and they're on this mission to be in the MLS, which they're getting very close to. And because of our history with the club soccer scene, working with the youth and the PDL, when Orlando City came to town, it was kind of that we were their go-to company, and so they brought us on, and full support from the ownership through the coaching staff all the way down makes our job very easy. I've worked in professional sports, and working with a coach that supports strength conditioning and the support staff that we provide makes it very easy and very enjoyable job there. And Dan Shuck, the other owner of SSP, he oversees that project right now, and he works with the pro team every day, and he oversees the academy and all the way down to the system. And so it's just a product of a great coaching staff, and I think that's kind of with any team. I always say players are how do you say it? They're a reflection of their coach.
Right.
And so, on the pro team, these guys come in and work, and I've been with professional organizations where that's not the case.
Right.
And so when you have support from the top, it makes everything different.
Right. Well, again, I think, going back to a message to strength coaches is obviously, you've got some eclectic taste as a strength coach, and we all do. We have things that push, that get us excited, and most strength coaches like working with athletes, period, And what's cool about your situation is you're able to kind of pick and choose, and at the end of the day, if soccer's your passion, but all of a sudden you get into mixed martial arts, then it's an easy transition,
Right.
And you can maintain that aspect of your business, but you could add to it, and I think that's pretty cool. Talk a little bit about just when you go in and you inherit these situations. Creating that culture, that structure. You're in maybe a field, you're maybe on a pavilion. You got an hour. What's that? Break that down kind of globally. You don't have to get into specific exercises, but 5 minutes of dynamic warm up, or we start with mobility, or whatever it may be.
I have an unbelievable staff, and we've created a methodology over the years that makes training in any environment, in any situation, in any team, any age, any level, very simple in my opinion. And so, our methodology, just kind of like you said, we have a core and corrective component that we start with. We move into warm-ups, we move into plyos, and then we kind of attack our movement of the session. We're a very movement-oriented company. Our goal is to make athletes move more efficiently and be faster, stronger, more powerful athletes. So, we move right into that movement component, and then from there, depending on what kind of environment we're in, we follow up with a power, whether that's Olympic lifts or med balls, and then we conclude with a strength portion, and then hopefully some type of recovery. And so whether I'm in the nicest weight room in the country or I'm out on a field, I can still follow that system. Mm-hmm. And whether I'm in season or off season, I just kind of work within that system. And it really equips obviously myself and our staff on how to work in all these different scenarios and environments, and whatever we may get thrown.
As a businessman, as a strength coach, as a manager, I'm sure that you're having to develop lots of different skills, and and obviously the people that watch the show pretty regularly know that I'm an avid reader. I'm constantly researching things. Give us a book recommendation.
All right, I'll go two for you.
Okay.
One's more on the educational side, the Movement book by Gray Cook.
Okay.
I'm kind of at a point in my career right now where I want to be able to fix people, and I think that's a very valuable tool. I've spent a lot of years working on getting athletes more powerful, faster, stronger, and I'm at a point in my career now where I really want to help people who have problems. And so that movement book by Greg Cook has been very, very helpful for me. And then the second one, kind of an enjoyment reading, is Mind Gym. I don't know if you've read that by Gary Mack. I just think that's kind of a cool book that I always encourage our athletes and other coaches to read.
I reached out, a sad deal. I read that book, and I was pretty moved. I thought it was a really good book. And so I reached out, and he had actually passed away. Oh, really? And his wife had sent me a nice letter. And obviously it appreciated the fact that it touched my coaching career in a way, and just a really neat couple, real neat guy, and hearing about him. What about you get in, you're late at night, you're laying in bed, whatever, you flip on the computer, you're surfing the internet on your phone. Give me a website that you go to regularly.
Well, kind of along the same lines I just said, I'm really in this movement of trying to make people better, and I've been following the Mobility WOD quite a bit. He just actually released his book today, I believe, and I've gone back and watched his first 10 WODs, I guess, and kind of the foundation of where he comes up with a lot of this stuff, and it's really kind of given me some cool ideas, and we're starting to work with some athletes. So that's kind of a place I've been spending a little bit of time recently, just trying to help people.
Kelly's actually coming on the show.
Oh, sweet, man!
Soon. Yeah, he's a pretty neat guy. I'm excited about that. Is there an app that you use with your athletes or maybe with your staff that you recommend?
Man, as far as apps go, so I have two apps, and I don't have an app that I really use with my athletes or my staff. The one I've been using personally is Big Lifts.
Say that again.
Big Lifts.
Okay.
It's the 531 program.
Oh, okay.
You can kind of put in your own workouts, and then it kind of shoots everything out for you. And I've been using that personally, and some other coaches that work out with me. And then I have to give a little shout out for Nike Fuel. That's been. Are you familiar with the Fuel Band? Yep. And so that's kind of been an app that I've found very valuable for myself, and I've given to a few people who are trying to be active. And, I've had it for a year now, and I sync it up every single night. And I think it's just a really cool tool for anybody who wants to get out and be more active. It just kind of holds you accountable.
Yeah, those are good ones. Is there is there a quote that's plastered in your weight room, or is there one that you live by that you want to share?
Man, you're asking me for quotes, and so I used to be really big into keeping quotes, and I found one that was kind of appropriate for talking about the weight room and stuff, and it's, don't think expensive equipment will make up for the lack of practice or work ethic. Mm-hmm. And, we didn't have a weight room here at Rollins, and starting SSP, we didn't have a lot. But we just knew that through hard work and stuff, we would get there, and we didn't need the best equipment. And over time, those kind of things have come. And so, that's kind of the message of you don't need expensive equipment to make good athletes or make a business run or whatever direction you decide to go in this field. You just got to get out there and put time in and make it work.
Sure. We're going to link up your website, and you're active on social media and whatnot in the show notes. But is there any place you specifically want people to go, or do you have anything kind of going on right now that you want to discuss?
No, I just love for people to go to our website. We obviously answer emails. You were talking about different stuff with me. We're open to advice. We're just a company that continues to grow and learn, and we'd love for you to follow us on Facebook. Facebook is Spectrum Sports Performance. And just follow us what we got going on. We're involved in a lot. We have an awesome education program that's run 3 times a year for 12 weeks. The fall, spring, and summer. It's an awesome opportunity if you're looking to learn. And that's probably it. Just following us on social media links, Facebook and Twitter, and then checking out our website. We just love feedback.
Well, I know, and Will, Will has always been great, in the years that I've known him. And I know if there's any young coaches that are watching this, he takes on interns, and so it might be a possibility for reaching out there. Orlando is obviously a beautiful part of the country. So, but Will, I appreciate you coming on, man. I think there's some great takeaways in that. It's kind of making the big time where you're at. You create your own destiny a little bit, and you've done it in a way that you've been able to build around your passions of strength and conditioning and soccer and some of these other things that you are passionate about. and create a career that you're obviously having a lot of passion for. So excited for you, excited to see where this company that was started in a high school gym has gone, and I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Congrats on your new job.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll talk to you later.
All right.
As usual, we'll make sure we link up all of the information that Will shared in today's episode down below in the show notes. But before we let you go, want to make sure we point out Football Strong clinics that are less than a month away now. So if you're either interested in attending the Detroit clinic on May 18th or the Baltimore clinic on May 25th, make sure you go to my website, ronmckeefery.com/FBstrong, to register. Both clinics have great speaker lineups, fantastic people, and should be a great networking opportunity as well. So have a great week, and we'll see you next week for another episode of Iron Game Chalk Talk. Take care.